I want to talk to you about, we're trying to uh, end the murdering in our culture. We won't change our culture until uh, we change who creates money. Whoever controls the power to create money controls a nation, a culture. Whoever controls the power to create money controls a culture. And right now, it's the bankers, and it has been since the 16th century. It's time for a fucking change, folks. Uh, Hi there.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How did it go?
I gave up the $3. Well, I got you. Yeah, no problem.
Oh, you checking the mail?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. That's my young friend, 26 years old with schizophrenia and just got back from a court date. He said he gave the judge the $3 he had in his pocket. They take they they make the poor even poorer. But Samuel's father, who lives in Alaska, and I are working together on this, and we're going to make sure that that Samuel can survive beyond us. Did you have the key?
Yeah, it didn't work. Not yet.
Huh?
Didn't work.
Okay. He's expecting money from his father, and his father helps, sends a little money along, and so Samuel didn't seem like he was in a good mood. I guess if you've been before a judge, that wouldn't put you in a good mood, would it? We can fix all the fucking problems we got in this country when we fix who creates money. It makes me angry that we have the knowledge, we know the history, we know what can be done, and it's not being done. It's not being done at that university. The university that's right behind me, it's University of Oklahoma. Uh, I know one of the economics teachers, and she just she can't comprehend what the hell I'm talking about. Well, I got a degree in money and banking from the University of Oklahoma in 1964. I had one teacher, one economics teacher that knew what we could do. And Dr. Brinker, I wish you were still around. I know we had friends that tried to keep us apart, tried to condemn me so you wouldn't be my friend. But we got through that because you knew that I understood what the hell you were talking about. Uh, Even though this damn woman kept interfering with us. Uh, I told Dr. Brinker, I said, I was 21 years old. Hell, I was 5 years younger than Samuel. And I was asleep in your class, and you got up to the blackboard and wrote a couple of curves up there, that thing that you draw, and supply and demand. And he said, my friends at Oklahoma State University say we can't do this and this, and he named the things we can't do because of these curves. And what I say is, we open those windows over there and throw these things out on the lawn. Every time, and I said, Dr. Bringer, that woke me up. You were my best teacher that I had in school. And, we had one conservative back then in the 60s. This is before Reagan. And, and he became the head of the department. Yeah. And uh, what's his name from University of Chicago? Milton Friedman wrote him a letter, and this guy had it on his wall, said, "You're the greatest economist in the country besides me." And and he was a fucking idiot. Okay, nice guy. Alex was a nice guy. I took a class under him even after I, as an adult, and and uh, my friends in the class, young friends there in the class, had to keep me in my seat because I was ready to walk out on Alec at any moment. I just said, I can't stand this, and uh, and go away. You know, Reagan got elected. Hell, I'm all off the subject that I was on because of Samuel walking by. Um, After Reagan was elected, they kept the economics departments, but replaced everybody that was the whole structure, what was taught. And I was talking to Dr. Brinker in front of his wife, and who Dr. Brinker had was one of the ones that got fired. And his wife said, "Is that what happened?" And he shook his head sadly and said, "Yeah, that's what happened." And let's replace this. Hey, look at there. Hey, we got any cookies? Oh, good. Because I came home without any cookies. Yeah. This is food bank day. Uh, I've got two young men living with me. God, they eat a lot. and, uh, and, and they can't understand why this old man's not ready to eat all the time. And I'm 79 years old. And, and, and this is a multi generational uh, uh, apartment that we've got going here. I've known Michael since he was a kid hanging out on campus corner when he was like 16, 15 years old, uh, hanging out at the quarter house. It's called the quarter house. That's where you put a quarter in the game machines and played games. The kids played the games. We had a street here that was a lot like uh, 42nd Street in New York. I'm talking to these people. So anyway, you leaving? I gotta meet my friend. Okay. See you later, Michael. And and he'll leave it up to Samuel to find a place for all his food. We go every 2 weeks to the food bank. It's at the Methodist Church, just a block from here. McFarland Methodist in Norman, Oklahoma. You can see where I live. It's really on the alternate corner from where I'm living. And, uh, Methodist Church has been really involved in civil rights work and helping the poor. In fact, this group where we go to the food bank was the original organizer for the um, food and shelter that we have here in Norman for the homeless and for the poor like me. Um, I go there every day at lunch, uh, get a thermos of coffee and a good meal and a dessert and some visiting with some of the other poor and and then bringing home food for supper. And that's that's takes all of our food needs are taken care of. And it's this group where we go to the food bank that organized and started this. I don't know the year, but that's the history that I read. And I just know that if I should ever move back to the town where I was born, Henrietta, Oklahoma, a little industrial town that John Steinbeck said uh, described as the first city, for the first real city that the Jobs came across on their trip from Salisaw to California. Uh, and Henrietta was a real little city, an industrial city. There was a smelter there. There was a glass plant there that's still there. Uh, they've converted from making window glass to beer bottles, and we get the sand, the basic for the mixture to making glass from uh, south of here on the Burlington Northern Railroad. Mill Creek, I think, is what it's called. And we had an iron foundry there. In fact, I'm sitting right over a manhole cover that that I've got that's the center of my little patio. Uh, it was made in our iron foundry back in the 60s or 70s, maybe 50s. I said I might have brought this manhole cover over here as a kid and delivered it to Norman. It was in the alley right behind me, and um, it, the contractor was repaving the alley, and I said, "What are you going to do with that manhole cover?" And he said, "Take it to the junk pile." And I said, "No, give it to me." And I said, "I made that thing back in the 60s or 70s," and so now it's part of my patio, and I've got another one in my backyard that's going to go to the History Museum in Henrietta, Oklahoma. And I now know that the History Museum is working because I got a letter asking for a donation, and I now know that my friend, who's been head of the History Museum, is still head of the History Museum. There was some controversy a year or two or 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't know whether Mike was still head of the head of that. But I live in Norman. The best thing about Norman isn't the university; it's an Amtrak station. I can ride my folding bicycle 2 blocks east of here and get on Amtrak and go anywhere in the country. Uh, I use a credit card that gives me Amtrak miles so I can go for free. Just costs me my meals, and I've got a real nice setup where I've got uh, my mask that'll cover my eyes and my pillow that works right on the Amtrak seats and a blanket to put over me, and off I go. And and maybe Biden's going to save Amtrak, I hope, and actually get it extended here in the middle of Oklahoma. We're kind of at the end of the line in Norman. The end of the line's 20 miles north of here in Oklahoma City, and then you have to transfer to a bus to go on past Wichita to Newton, Kansas, to catch the Southwest Chief to go into Chicago or go to Los Angeles, or you go south from here and go to Fort Worth and uh, and there you can connect with the Texas Eagle and either go on farther south to San Antonio and then over to Los Angeles or or north to Chicago. And it's my way of getting around. And maybe if we get over this fucking COVID-19, hope you've had your shots. I've got had my shots, and I've talked to these two idiots, uh, and into getting their COVID shots. Kind of lied to them a little bit. I have a friend who's in a nursing home that we've been friends a long time. My long term gay friend, and Danny's has gotten approval from his nursing home that they'll bring him up here for a visit of 2 or 3 hours um, if everyone in the home has been inoculated, had the vaccine, uh, uh, and and I told him that, and actually, it's everyone in the home that's here when he's visiting. Uh, but well, they might be here. They might come popping in, and they need to have the shot. So, both of them got their first shots yesterday, and as they one got Moderna and one got another one, Astravent. I don't know what it was, and we've got the dates to go back for the second shot. And these two were not going to take shots. They didn't do it, and I said, "Well, are you going to keep Danny from coming and visiting me?" And that shamed him into it. And so Danny will be coming to visit me. Danny, if you're watching this video, um, I'll be down next Friday, uh, down to Lexington on my electric bike. I've found out that it works just fine making the trip. I've got 3 batteries. I only need 2 of them for this trip, and I can put them on chargers. I've got 2 chargers now, so I can get to the nursing home to visit with Danny and plug in the batteries and have them charged and we can visit for 4 hours. And I go down in the afternoon and uh, and stay till supper. They feed me supper down there at the nursing home, and maybe I'll be a resident there one of these days. Wouldn't that be something? And I wouldn't mind it. It's away from Norman, and and I won't be traveling anywhere if I have to live in a nursing home, and and anywhere except they take them to Walmart and to buy for less or whatever. They take them a little bit of shopping, and I said, well, Danny, you only get $50 a month to keep on your Social Security, and he said, no, they raised it to 80, 83. So maybe uh, when I get committed to a nursing home, uh, might get $83 a month, and if I've got my phone and I can keep a service, get some kind of a senior discounted service, maybe I can uh, I can still broadcast to my Occupy the Need Act friends uh, that time. We're not going to change anything till millions of us demand a change in our culture. It's not going to change. We're still going to tinker with our culture. I don't know even whether I talked about that yet in this video, but W. Edwards Deming, that taught the Japanese how to build quality cars, uh, uh, said that tinkering, and he proved it. He had an experiment called something, I don't know, you can look it up. Uh, Something ballsy with the funnel experiment, the W. Deming funnel experiment. Look it up. And this is where he demonstrated how tinkering with situations only gets you further from the result that you're wanting to get, which is what we were getting with cars in the 50s and 60s and 70s in the USA. They were beautiful, but goddamn, you had to get rid of them after 2 years. Uh, you had to trade, and so I remember the bankers down at the Henrietta, whatever bank, Henrietta American Exchange Bank, laughing about these new Japanese cars. Pretty soon they weren't laughing about them. These damn things lasted and lasted and lasted, and uh, and uh, and people started buying them and getting loans. So the bankers wanted customers, so that's what they got, and and they loaned money for these Japanese cars that they were making fun of. And so let's uh, let's quit tinkering with our culture and understand that whoever creates the money controls the culture. And right now it's the bankers. We got to get them out of the business. And the NEAT Act does that. It ends. It does three things. It ends uh, uh, the Federal Reserve. It buys it back from the owners, which are the commercial banks, and J.P. Morgan Chase owns almost half of the stock in the Federal Reserve. Did you know that? One fucking banker makes he's got to do is get a call for total control over what's done. Now, how they got control, or how they actually have control, is they've designed a culture here where we have to go to them to get our money. Uh, we have to. You want a car, you gotta get a loan. You got to go to the bank. You want a house, you go get a bank to get a loan. Maybe you don't go to the bank, but the person that you borrow money off of goes to the bank. Okay, these savings and loans associations, they've all got deals with commercial banks to get their money to loan to you. That's all that is, and and it's the commercial bank that creates the money that you get uh, from a savings and loan association. So they got you, and and the government uh, runs out of money, it has to borrow money, and it runs out every night. And big corporations run out of money every night. And where do they get their money? From commercial banks. One of the people in our Greens for Monetary Reform group are um, uh, worked for Citibank, and she she knew what happened every night at midnight, between midnight and daylight at the bank, creating trillions of dollars every fucking night to keep everything floating. And so we're going to take that power to create money away from the bankers. But what we're going to do, this the next step is, uh, and that is we're ending fractional reserve banking. But then the third step, I've been through two steps. Two steps is the first step is end put the uh, put the Federal Reserve System into the Treasury where we think it is now, and make it a part of government. And we're going to end fractional reserve banking, which is how banks create money. When they give you a loan, they don't have the money in the bank. They create it right then when they punch that button on their computer, just like that. Just whatever. Ought to have a. There we go. There's that button. We can punch it. And so let's. Okay, then we uh, put the Fed in the Treasury. We end the power of the banks to create money, and then we spend money into the economy. That's where the money will come from. Come from Congress spending money into the economy for the things that we need, like healthcare, like transportation, like education. Uh, uh, Everything could be free. Did you know that? And how about a $50,000 a year guaranteed annual income? We can do all that without borrowing money or taxing anyone. And of course, we want to start out gently, but most inflation is asset inflation. Okay, stock market. That's where inflation is, and in the housing market. Okay, uh, it isn't in having too much money in the hands of people. No, that is a fiction. People get over that. So, okay, to understand all of this, you need to go to our website, and it's called greens for monetary reform.org. Greens, Greens, for FOR, monetary, MONETARY, reform, all one word, .org. Go there and you can start getting our newsletter. You can start understanding the significance of money creation and how it has created this murderous culture that we live in. Biden's going to try to stop all the murder. He, all he's doing is tinkering thing, and we'll just be further from the solution. We can change our culture. Whoever creates money has the power to control a culture, and right now it's the bankers, and I think we all agree we don't like the murders that's going on. We don't like the empire. We don't like the the ships and the airplanes and the bombs that we have to go bomb other people and to make them be like our shining city on the hill. This shining city on the hill is rusted, and it was known it was going to be like this in Europe before before we got going. Uh, the The editorials in the papers of Europe said there is a dangerous nation being formed on the North American continent, and sure enough, it has turned into being a dangerous nation. Let's end that. Let's 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 change it, and we won't change it until we change who creates the money, and it's going to be us through Congress. You say, hell, we don't want Congress doing it. Look at those people. Well, all of a sudden, the bankers won't have the ability to control Congress.
Yeah, okay. Let me get a drink. You and me, okay?
Okay,
See
okay.
you, Bushman.
See ya, Samuel. And there he goes. If you can see him, I don't know whether you can see him or not. That's 26 years old. He has been a real blessing to me. To see him. And old gay men are lonesome people. And this young man has filled my life. And even if he is schizophrenic, we're going to learn to live with that. And we're going to, it's going to be a long process. His dad says, I tried to get him to see psychiatrists over and over again. He'd never show up. He went the other way. Well, he tried to do that with me with COVID-19, but I figured out a way to trick him into taking the COVID-19 inoculation. So uh, anyway, I'm an old drill sergeant. I've handled a lot of 26-year-olds and 25s and 18-year-olds, lots of them. So and it takes, I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of hollering to raise a boy. Lots of hollering. And so, anyway, I've enjoyed talking to you today. You've got to know a little bit more about me. And let's see, I can't quite see my screen to see how many minutes we've been on, but we've been on a little while. And I will talk to you again real soon. Occupy the Need Act. Go to, or search out hashtag Occupy the Need Act, and you'll find links. You'll find other things that I've said about the Need Act. And it's H.R. 2990 of the 112th Congress by former Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Cleveland, Ohio, who's been a real hero for the poor for all his political life. Started out as mayor of Cleveland, Ohio, fighting the bankers that were trying to take their power company away from them. And he beat the bankers. Well, let's beat them now. They don't need to be controlling our lives. So I will see you again soon. Bye now. Take care. Be safe. Take your shots. Uh, let's get through this pandemic. Bye.